Hi all, this is Sabri. Happy to meet you all again. In this video, we are going to discuss about what are the different types of modules that are supported by Spring Framework. Now, I'll be taking you to a tour of different modules, and I would like to insist here that please don't go panic by looking at these terms out here. Sure that we will be going through all these modules one by one in our playlist. So I'll be explaining you with all the demonstrations for each and every module. But before we get into the understanding of each and every module, we just wanted to know what the Spring Framework Runtime is made up of. Spring Framework Runtime is made up of a collection of multiple modules. So as per the documentations from the 4.x version, it says that there are 20 different modules are there in Spring Framework Runtime. Even though our course is going to be on 5.x, but I'm just trying to give you a understanding that Spring Framework is such a big framework by carrying many number of modules in it, and each and every modules are pretty good in terms of developing an enterprise graded application. Now if you look at this diagram is trying to depict that each and every module has a collection of libraries in it. If you look at the first one, the core container, which is the very important module in Spring Framework. So, and that's why the name is provided as a core. Okay, any technology you go for, you need to start learning from the core part of it. So if you look at the Java technology, we used to say that you should be aware of core Java, right? The same way here in Spring Framework, we need to start our learning from the core container. The core container module consists of multiple libraries in it, like beans, core, context, spell. Spell is all about Spring expression language. I again insist here, don't get panicked by looking at these terms. I'm sure that we will be going through all these libraries as we go along with further videos. Now the next important module is the supplementary modules. If you look at the supplementary modules, you have AOP, aspect oriented programming, and messaging. These are some of the libraries which integrates with different other modules like core modules, web modules. You can integrate them with any of the modules. So it is going to be considered as a supplementary modules. And you have one more interesting module called the web module. In the web module, you have servlet. Okay, exclusively I'm talking about servlet, but you do have WebSockets, web portlets, and so on. Here, this web module, which is carrying a servlet in it, is going to help us in order to develop a servlet based applications in Spring environment. And technically speaking, it is going to be called as a Spring MVC. So the Spring MVC is going to be put up into the development with the help of web module. And the next important module is all about the data access integration module. Here you can see that JDBC is there, ORM is there, JMS is there, transactions are there. These are different libraries, but all these libraries are put together into this module, and exclusively we use this module for connecting with the database, and we establish a messaging communications between different components, and to manage all these external transactions, they do offer a transactions library out there. Okay, now having said with all these libraries, the one important library that we need to end up with is testing library. Yes, of course, Spring Framework provides its own test environment. Testing library is a very important library because we are going to test out all the Spring components using this test library. This test library is going to integrate with JUnit or TestNG kind of libraries, and probably you might be aware of JUnit. If not, JUnit is a library which we use for testing purpose, and it is exclusively for a unit testing. So it's easy for us to integrate testing in our existing Spring applications. Now, if you look at these are the basic modules. As I said, it carries Spring Framework carries almost 20 different modules. But what you are seeing here is the fundamental modules, and these are very important modules that as a Spring Framework learner should know about it. But are we going to go through all these modules? Yes, of course. Might not be with all libraries in it, but of course we are going to learn through all the different modules which I am listed out here. So where are we going to start with? We are going to start with this core container, and that's why we are going to call it as a Spring Core. The Spring Core is all about it's going to carry beans, core, context, and spell in it. So in our upcoming videos, we are going to learn about the Spring Core, and Spring Core has a module called Core Container Module. We'll talk about more briefly and we will gain more practical understanding of how we will start developing a Spring Core applications. But I just wanted to conclude that these are different modules which are available in Spring Framework. So Spring Framework Runtime consists of multiple modules. Each module has different libraries in it. As I already stated in my earlier video, when you have collection of libraries, and we are going to call them as a framework, the same is applied here as well. As you can notice that there are multiple libraries are there, but they have split up those libraries into different modules, and they have integrated all the modules together and given a name called framework for it. And this is the exact runtime environment that's required for each and every module of applications that you're going to develop with. For example, if you're going to develop a Spring Core application, then you need a core container module. If you're going to develop a web application, web MVC application, then you need a web module, right? So what Spring Framework consists of? Different modules. Each modules consist of different libraries, and altogether we are going to call them as a Spring Framework. So that's it in this video. I'll connect up in the next video. Until then, have a great day. Thank you.